Oh, fucking get rid of that. Every time. Hello? Is that working now? Yes. Right. Good evening. I'm waiting for an invite from Alan. And I said, he asked me to put it on YouTube off, and then so this has ended up happening because he meant community post. I thought he meant do this, and then he said no, but we'll do this anyway. So there you go. Look at that. Hello, Dan. Hello, Nick. Paying attention to Alex. Right, Rust. The thing needs a whole stream dedicated to itself, Alex. We just, what's it called? That should be on there. Hang on, I'm over there sorting this out. Alright. This is what we're waiting on. Oh, got a notification there. So, I don't know. I presume we're going to get a notification from Alan. Yeah, let me close this because it's fucking. It's not well. To be honest. I can just all read my gay tweets. Go in Norwich. God, don't tell the truth. Don't tell the truth. Don't tell the truth. Listen, I'm fucking. I was getting into a debate. I've been getting into debates with these fucking creatures. I don't know what they want to be defined as because it's hard work, right? But I need some help because they're trying to tell me I'm being bigoted, right? And they got me questioning myself, right? But I'm saying I got sound and reason, logic, yeah, and my argument's good, right? So they're trying to say to me that I'm using a slur. This is what they keep saying as well, right? So by definition, I don't think that's right because we can get the definition of it out. But anyway, they're saying I'm using a slur by calling transsexuals trannies, yeah? And I'm trying to explain to them, like, no, because you're a cult of fucking people that think you're linguists, think you're linguistical experts, you've commandeered flipping trans. That doesn't mean transgender. Like, transgender, that's not whatever transgender means. It's not what it pertains to be. It's not a transsexual is the point, right? Now, for the longest time, a transvestite, a transsexual was called a tranny. They're trying to say it's a pejorative term. I am saying it's a distinguishing term. It's a specific term when talking about transsexuals, as opposed to all these confused fucking mentally ill children that think they're fucking vegetables or whatever the fuck they're up to. You know? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Trannies is specifically referring to transsexuals, not transgenders, not non-binaries. Like it's they've taken trans. Yeah, you can't. So when you say a trans person now, that doesn't mean a transsexual, right? That's why when I'm saying a tranny, I'm specifically talking to a transsexual, not even a transvestite. Specifically, transsexual. Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't know the logic behind it, but I'm trying to say, logically speaking, it's a abbreviation. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just we're just taking a syllable out rather than saying transsexual. We're just saying tranny. This is what I mean. You cannot debate these people in good faith. That's a fact because they don't debate in good faith. There's no. It's honestly, it's so. It's like it's infantile. It's like dealing with preschool age children. It's mental. Where's this thing, Alan? I'm not. It's this is Alan's gig, Steve, mate. I he- really and truly, it should be fucking. It should be Vile News James Goddard doing this. To be honest, I think, but they've obviously got whatever going on. The beaky fellas got eyes to see. Well, Greg, I think that's your job to tell them about that sort of stuff, mate. Because you're in the gang, ain't you? So they've got to listen to you. But you don't want to put your head above the parapet there. You don't want to get sniped. This is what it's all about. No, to be fair, they don't. They're that fucking unhinged and mental. They don't. They just ostracize anyone that's not fucking towing the line, and they chuck them overboard, mate. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put that on you, Greg. That was unfair. That was if we were dealing with an entity that were actually reasonable, rational. Oh, Alan, where are you, Alan? He said 8 o'clock. I said I got to get off early, mate, because if we're going to Norwich tomorrow, I need to fucking get me nut down. Thank you for that, Mr. Scrabtree. I thoroughly appreciate that. And I'm gonna take that all the way to court with me. I mean, I don't know where we're at. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But yeah, I will fucking take that to court with me if needs be, me. Because that's where we're at, mate. It's fucking ludicrous. It's insane to try and argue that words cause harm. And this is the thing, it's not this is how serious this shit is. And I know probably everyone in here understands how serious this shit is. But the thing that's really, really scary is these retards and that are repeating this stuff, regurgitating the stuff that they've heard. Are doing just that. They're regurgitating stuff that they've heard, stuff that they've read. And the point is academics telling these fucking retarded, emotionally unstable, inadequate social beings, and that's why it gives them some sort of feeling of sense of community and being, so they can all be fucking social delinquents together, social outcasts, socially unable, mate. Mate, Mr. Scrabtree, get on this, bruv. They're only doing that because they're trying to euthanize everyone that's autistic. It's not a good thing, bro. We're on a list. Pride, Mr. Footer. Pride in Norwich tomorrow. The Germans are at it again. That's all I saw. Europe is descending into madness. That's because Tom understands the geopolitical climate. Oh. I need me wires, is what I need if I'm to put stuff on charge. So, this is charged. I'll just need to charge this one.
Have you got the microphone?
No, it's in the. It didn't get used though. Well, give it to me anyway, please. Pass it to me. It's
Batteries.
They should be alright. Give some here though. In the coat pocket. Thank you. Liverpool Pride tomorrow. Come on, mate. Norwich get a bit fucking feisty with their old Antifa as well, though, don't they? That's what I mean. Who's from Norwich? Yeah. Where's Bull? This is what it's about. Networking. I think Alan's getting us all at it, mate. What's he up to, bruv? He said 8 o'clock. It's 1:15. Car. He said he was making a cuppa. Boat people are UN soldiers. I'm hearing this a lot these days. It seems like a real thing that people are concerned about. Is that Alan under a alias? Is Jake actually Alan? Is he being funny? Yeah, we'll go on. Whilst we're waiting for Alan. Let me. Get this out quickly. What is going on here? Alright, one is. My bad, I'm in the wrong place. Right. Share that. Via that. That'll do it. Right, now I need to go into this. Go into this. Go into this. Is that? Yeah, that isn't there. Will I still get the notification? Alright, so Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act 2011, as amended by the Anti-Social Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act 2014 and the Police Crime and Sentencing and Courts Act 2022. Guidance on the provisions relating to Parliament Square and the areas surrounding the Palace of Westminster. March 2023. Right. Purpose of this guidance. Part 3, Section 141149A of the Police Reform and Social Responsibility Act 2011. The 2011 Act, which contains provisions for the management of Parliament Square and surrounding areas, which include measures to address disruptive activities in those areas. Hang on, I want this. Let me make sure this is over here so I can see if I get notification. Right. The provisions of Part 3 of the 2011 Act provides powers in relation to certain types of activities within two defined areas: the controlled area of Parliament Square and the Palace of Westminster controlled area. The provisions relating to the controlled area of Parliament Square deal with certain protest activities and the use of amplified noise equipment. Those relating to the Palace of Westminster controlled area relate to the use of amplified noise equipment and the obstruction of vehicles entering and exiting the parliamentary estate. Fucking know that as I word. Parliamentary. This guidance provides an overview of the relevant part of this legislation and explains the purpose and aim of the relevant sections of the legislation. It also provides further clarification on how the legislation should be implemented to deal with the harms it is seeking to address. This guidance replaces the document published in 2014 of the same name. Excuse me. What is going on, mate? Where is Alan? Who is this guidance for? This guidance is aimed at the practitioners responsible for the enforcement of the legislation, but it also provides relevant information for the general public so they are aware of the legislation concerning protests in Parliament Square and surrounding areas. So this would be a good document to read. If you had any intention of going to protest in Parliament Square, this would be a good document to read because this is what they're going to do to you, right? Who has written this guidance? This guidance has been prepared by the Home Office in consultation with the Metropolitan Police Service, the Greater London Authority, Westminster City Council, the Royal Parks and other key partners. Contents. Introduction. Where does this legislation apply? What are the prohibited activities in the controlled area of Parliament Square? What are the prohibited activities in the Palace of Westminster controlled area? What powers exist in relation to the controlled areas? What can a constable or authorised person direct under this act? Now that's interesting, the language they use there, authorised person, like the Covert Human Intelligence Sources Act, calling people designated persons, authorised persons, almost like the same, isn't it? Anyway, power to seize property, very interesting. Power of court on conviction. Enforcement map of control. Right. Interesting. The government is committed to ensuring that everyone can enjoy our public spaces and to dealing with the harm caused by aggressive protest. Aggressive protest, yo. Aggressive protest. What the fuck? Who are they trying to call aggressive? Because like this is the thing. This is what they do. Like people want to protest peacefully, and they get They goad reactions out of people, mate. They come out all dressed up like a bunch of fucking cunts to start. And other disruptive activities in and around Parliament Square. This harm includes damage to Parliament Square, noise disruption, hygiene, health and safety issues. Ooh, interesting. Placing iconic spaces out of bounds for enjoyment of public, including those who wish to exercise their rights to protest peacefully. So this is the key thing. They're trying to say that peaceful protest isn't an issue. If that's the case, then what's the point in having the thing? They're talking shit, mate. Peaceful protest isn't allowed. No, because I'm thinking about it from a Just Stop Oil perspective, is what I'm thinking now, boys. In case you're wondering what I'm thinking from a JSO perspective. They've been getting shut down on what? On this stuff, obviously, when they've been doing it around there. But I'm trying to see how. Because they ain't been doing that. When they've been getting nicked and shit, they ain't been doing none of this. Fuck knows. Right, anyway. The provisions in the 2011 Act are aimed at targeting the specific problems and empowering the relevant authorities to take action by giving them the ability to enforce the provisions more effectively. The legislation overrides any bylaws in place which replicate an activity prohibited under the Act. Neither can new bylaws be made which replicate the provisions in the 2011 Act. The 2011 Act, as amended by Antisocial Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act 2014 and the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act 2022, include provisions that repeal sections 132 and 138 of the Serious Organised Crime Act, wonder what that is, which were considered to impose unnecessary restriction on the right to peaceful protest around the House of Parliament, right? Provide powers in relation to the erection of tents or other similar structures within the controlled area, to use of sleeping equipment for the purpose of sleeping or staying within the controlled area. So this is the same rules. These are blatantly going to be the same rules that they have in the pen. You're not allowed to sleep there. You're not allowed to. This is a thing. But I'm sure Gazer Teriyaki Freeman, whatever his name is, was there for 192 days. So, where there's a will, unauthorised use of noise amplification equipment in the Parliament Square and Palace of Westminster controlled areas, the obstruction of vehicular access to and from Parliamentary Estate, provide powers of seizure to the police and authorised officers to deal with these activities. Authorised officers, interesting one. Enable the relevant authorities to attach powers of seizure to bylaws to deal with the displacement activity around Parliament Square. Enable the relevant authorities to attach powers of seizure to bylaws. Right, this is all amendments. Where does this legislation apply? That's an interesting point. Do you mean chat's broken? Getting ready to shoot everyone that protests. Alan's live? On what? What's What's he live on the cunt? Alan's live on Twitter. Well, I'm for that then. He ain't invited me, the mother's cunt. What?
Oh, 1 minute, we've got Jim finally.
What do you mean, Jim, finally, mate?
We're 75% of the way here. We're just missing the main person.
Do you want to tell everybody who the main person is that we're waiting for?
Yeah, so we're waiting for Tracey Blackwell, the mother of Josh, who was murdered with 2 other boys over 5 years ago now. She's here to tell. It was January 26, 2018. My boys was walking to a 16th birthday party when 2 people in a car drove at speed, didn't attempt to slow down, didn't attempt to swerve out the way, and drove into a crowd of kids, killing 3. Tracy's here now. 1 minute, people. Tracy, I've just sent you an invitation to co-host. Can you accept that, please? Jim, I've also sent you a request to co-host, Jim.
I'm not sure you can have more than 2 co-hosts, but I'm not certain on that.
Right. Well, I'll send one as a listener and one as a co-host.
Don't fucking, mate. I've already told this fella. I've been out all day, and now he's breaking my bollocks to do something when he don't even need me there. I've already said to him he
You
don't
just need to
me there.
accept your invitations, Tracy and Jim.
What's he on about? Invitation.
Should it come up on the screen, Jamie, where the have to accept?
Yeah, but you can invite people as well.
I have invited them, but I mean, will they get the notification to accept?
Yeah, but it might have gone off screen, so you can do it again. They might have missed it.
All right.
Oh, boys, I can't even.
She can't see the invite, Jamie. I keep sending it.
Yeah, 1 sec.
Oh no, she's got it. She's got it.
What the fuck? How come
She's
she's
just
got
on
it? Where's
mute.
my one?
Hey, Tracy, finally.
I know. I'm really sorry, everyone, and I'm really sorry for anyone who's jumped on to listen to this. I've just had really bad technical issues, and but thanks for having me on tonight, Active. and correct, not political. And the other gentleman, sorry, I didn't catch your name. So yeah, I'm really sorry, everyone, but I'm here now.
Mate,
No, it's all right anyway, because like you say, we wanted to get people to it. People's only just sharing it out now anyway, so a lot of people are only just joining. But yeah, the co-host is Jamie, and Jim was supposed to be co-host, but he's not accepting. So it's just me, you, and
mean I'm
Jamie.
not accepting. You've
I
not
have
sent
gave
me
a brief
nothing, mate.
introduction,
That's
a
me
brief
reading, by the way, boys.
analysis of
He's not answering.
why we're about to speak. But Tracy, I will let you introduce yourself and give a brief account of what we're about to
Can't
speak
hear him now,
about
boys.
today.
I've broken it. What's happened?
Yeah, sorry, your mic cut out, but I think I got what you wanted me to do. Yeah, my name's Tracy. I'm the mother of a boy called Josh. When he was 16, on the 26th of the 1st, 2018, he was on his way with his friends to a 16th birthday party. I'm not very good with distance, but they was roughly about 600 meters away from the party when a car mounted the pavement and aimed at 5 children. The first 2 children got knocked to the side. The car then went to hit a boy called George. It then went on to hit my son. It then went on to hit another boy called Harry. 3 died, one of them being my son, and 2 just, narrowly escaped. The car stopped. The car stopped further up the road. They got out and they ran. Now, during the course of the weekend, the police were coming round and, saying this was an accident, it was dangerous driving, and so on and so on. There was lots of things the police informed us. I don't know how much you want me to narrow this down, Active, because obviously it spans 5 years. Cut a long story short, by the Monday, we knew the police were lying. We knew that the story they were giving us was not the correct story because there was witnesses at the scene. All these children that were attending this party that night were friends of our boys, so we know what people saw. And other things happened on the Monday that by the Monday tea time we knew the police were lying. We then proceeded to have meetings with the police and asking them lots of questions, and I can tell you they never answered one of those questions. They fed a fake story to the media, and the media kept printing the same story that the police were feeding them, even though we were having interviews with the media and telling them what we know. They never printed anything that we told them. I've had to investigate my own son's murder, and we've had lots of compelling evidence to point to the fact that this was a deliberate attack on our children. And when I say our children, I don't mean because they knew our children, because they didn't know our children. The fact that it was spread about that there was a party that night on this road, it was all over social media. It is not a road that you generally get a lot of people walking on. I know you've been there yourself, Active. You don't generally get a lot of people walking, but that party was well spread that night that there would be a lot of children on the road that night. We had our impact statements changed in court and crossed out, and we was told that if we weren't happy with that, we wouldn't be allowed to read them. The amount of times we had interviews with the media, like I said a moment ago, when the story come out, it was completely different to what our interviews were. Many of you will know how they work anyway. There's so much. Our boys were entitled to a coroner's inquest. We was written to and told we were not going to be given one. We tried to get legal aid and was told we couldn't get legal aid. I don't know if you want to stop me because I don't know where to start and where to stop with it, Active, because there's so much.
No, I wanted you to, like you say, carry on to that point, and then I'm going to take you back to the beginning. To the start of the event, how these people ran off, how they was stopped, how the CCTV was doctored. I was going to get to that bit.
Yeah, so I think it might be better if you do that. Ask me questions. Otherwise, I've got this whole big 5 years of worth of um, one of the MPs writing to the Attorney General with 4 points for a retrial.
He's
That was
such a
totally
cunt because
ignored.
he
To
told me
date,
that's what he wanted
I've
me on
sent
there
that
for.
same letter to another two
Now she's
Attorney
telling him he's got
Generals
to ask me questions.
since the original one that the MP at the time wrote to, and not once have we even had a courtesy response to it. And the reason why the MP Nick Hurd back on the 1st of August 2019 wrote this letter is because we took evidence to his office. Now, I'd had meetings with him before, but on this particular occasion, we took evidence to that office, and we showed him some of the evidence. So it became a case for him, I suppose, of no choice. Now he saw part of the evidence of what we had to prove our boys were deliberately mowed down by those in that car. You know, so maybe coming back might be better off answering what you've got to ask me active now.
Yeah, well, like you say, I want to go back to the beginning. Like, so after the crash, as soon as the crash had happened, these people ran off and they was apprehended. Who apprehended these people?
So the two boys that got narrowly missed by the car, who were with my son and the other two boys, because all five were friends, they see a couple of them get out of the car and run towards the Premier Inn. I don't know if that's North or West. Sorry, everyone. Run towards the Premier Inn. They actually used all the energy they had and ran after them, and they managed to catch one of them by the entrance of the SO garage. And they
So
dragged him back.
no,
Sorry,
yeah,
go
yeah, I was going to say yeah. So they dragged him back and they kept him until the police arrived. Is that right?
That's right. There was a couple of other people
I was looking
standing
for a link to
over
her
him
channel. Has anyone got that,
until the
please?
police arrived. Yeah.
So when the police arrived, they arrested him and the passenger or the driver. Was it the passenger or the driver, this person, or did we not know at this time?
Right. Well, that's another thing that I have put out there, so I can speak about it because I have put it out on lives before. We have no evidence that the one they claimed was the driver was ever the driver. So, firstly, we have come across no evidence. If you want to base it on evidence, the only thing we have is the one they apprehended. The only time he spoke was at the scene. After that, it was all no comment. But at the scene, he said he was the passenger. Now, this was the one they've portrayed now as the driver. The one of them that got away, they never charged with anything. On the Sunday, he appears at Acton police station, allegedly, and they only interview him for 17 minutes. 17 minutes interview, and that was it. I've never seen a statement because they've never produced it. I've got other statements here, but I've never seen that statement. It's only on their say so.
So right. So we've got one guy claiming to be the passenger that's been arrested. Did the police go straight round and raid that person's house? Because this couldn't have been seen as straight away a death by dangerous driving because there was multiple deaths and multiple injuries on a stretch of road where really they shouldn't have been driving at that speed, and there was no evidence to suggest that they've tried to stop and they've tried to get away. So was their houses raided?
There was no house raided, there was no house searched, and it was one of the questions I put when we had a CPS meeting with the police there, and they had the audacity to turn around to us and say, no, we didn't search their homes, but we did go round to the one who they claimed was the driver's house, but people were sleeping, so we didn't want to disturb them. Those are the exact words that they said to us parents at a CPS meeting.
So straight away, everything, alarm bells are ringing straight away here because you've got You've got people running away from the scene. Let's go back a minute. Let's just rewind a minute. Where with these two people in this car? What was their movements before they made it? Your son and Harry and George.
I'm glad you've asked this question. So the police told us that for 2 hours and 20 minutes earlier on in the day that they were sitting in Asda's car park in Hayes. The police said they didn't get out of the car, no one approached the car, but they sat in Asda's car park for 2 hours and 20 minutes. They then come out of Asda's car park and they do a left, and they are not seen for another 2 hours and 20 minutes until they appear at the scene and mount the pavement and go into our boys. Now, that's the police's version of that event. But I have, and that is the whole event that they kept, the police, right up and in court. Yet I have a statement from someone who was in Asda car park and has clearly said that he doesn't recall the one they claim was the driver ever being there. Now, for a start, that discounts that, doesn't it? So, for a start, under normal circumstances, you would think there'd be an investigation for that because, in a way, it discounts the alibi. Now, I haven't put that out before, but I'm putting it out now. But I have a statement here that clearly states that.
So right, so when the alleged driver, who the police are alleging was driving, when he was arrested, was he breathalyzed?
No, this is another thing that I have. There's I have at the scene they do a logbook. Now he wasn't breathalyzed. He was never charged with drink driving. This is something the media puts out to everyone because obviously they're trying to give a reason to everyone why this car mounted the pavement. You've heard it all before. Either someone's fallen asleep at the wheel, or they've been fasting, or they've fainted. They provide no evidence for things like this when they say this. But what I do want to tell you regarding that is they sent the FME, which is the forensic medical examiner, up the hospital to take his blood. When the FME went to the hospital, he waited an hour and there was no police presence with that man in that hour. So he left.
So he did not give any blood at all then?
Allegedly, what happened after that is that the police then called the FME back up to call him back to the hospital. And first of all, the FME, now not everyone knows what I'm telling you now. And first of all, the FME was refusing because he'd already been there and there was no police presence with this man that's just mowed down all these, well, one of them that's just mowed down all these children. There was no police presence. And I know why that was, but I can't say on here because that's for court. But there was no police presence, and he said he wasn't coming back, and then they got someone higher up in the police to call him, and then allegedly they went and picked him up and he come back and allegedly he took his blood.
So did he require immediate hospital attention after the crash? Because obviously he ran away, so he was quite able-bodied. So, and I just say that because in a single vehicle collision where there's no other vehicles, the procedure is you breathalyze the driver because it's a single vehicle collision.
That's another good question, Active. The police again originally told all us families that he was put into an induced coma. When we got all the reports and the ambulance reports and everything else, he was never in a coma and he didn't even need a plaster. There was nothing wrong with him at all. And he was picked up from St Mary's hospital. They sent police there at 7 o'clock the next morning. Nothing. No injuries, nothing.
So let me go on to the alleged passenger who we believe was the driver. What do we know about this person?
Are you talking about the one that they didn't charge with anything?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Right, okay. So I researched these people myself. And when the liaison officer called me one day, we should have had her number, by the way, but she said she lost her mobile. So there's so much to this awful, horrendous story. And I started researching them myself. And I found one of them I couldn't find anywhere in this country before 2010. And the other one was born in this country, but on his Twitter, he had anti-British stuff. He was born here, but he had stuff that needed looking into. Yeah. I don't know how else to put that. So when the liaison officer called me, I said to her, I've been researching into these myself because you're not giving us any answers to anything. And I said, one of them I can't find in this country before 2010. And she was adamant, really adamant. She said to me, no, 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 no. I'm telling you now, he was born in Hillingdon where the other one was born. Now, the other one was born in Hillingdon. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm wrong. When we went to a CPS meeting, it came out that he wasn't here before 2010, exactly what I said. Now, the liaison officer was at that CPS meeting, and I asked her directly to her face in front of everyone, why did you lie to me? Why did you say he was born here when he wasn't? And to date, she never answered that question. She wouldn't answer it. She just looked at me. Regarding the other one, I took a printed off what was on his Twitter pages, and I took it into the CPS meeting and I gave it to them. I said, how can you tell me you haven't researched these people's homes when I've found this myself on this one's Twitter page? And all they would say to me, well, yeah, it's uncomfortable reading. That's all they would say.
So let's get this. Let's get some facts right. This guy didn't come to this country before 2010. You found what pro Islamic, pro terrorist or anti British propaganda on his Twitter.
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things I found just to make it a bit more understandable. One of the things I found was Paradise Boys. Another thing I found was a couple of days after the incident, the murders, he was writing, hello, good day to my new night brothers and my new day brothers. There was all sorts of things going on that was being written, about Gaza. And this is all to do with the one who was born here. This was the one who wasn't born here, the one who they claim was a driver. All his social media accounts were wiped off within 24 hours.
See, so straight away suspicions are raised. Accounts are being deleted. Accounts from the police suggesting the alleged driver was the driver when you've got an account that driver wasn't even in the car 2.5 hours previously. So, right. So this happened on. Am I right? It's the 26th of January. Was it your boy's birthday? This happened on 2018.
No, they was on their way to their friend's 16th birthday party.
So this is over 5 years ago. Right. So people that are not aware because this is being recorded as well, so this will be able to be replayed. You have been fighting for justice for 5.5 years. You first started your fight. You went to Speaker's Corner, and ever since that day, you was probably the lead yellow vest. In this country when the Jelly Johns started in France. What can you tell people? What have you actually done to try to get justice for the boys?
Yeah, so from when it happened up until the 18th of March is when I went to Speaker's Corner, because during the time of January to March, I was speaking to the media. They wasn't telling everyone what had really happened. They was lying to the, you know, not just to us and, you know, my family, his siblings, his friends and community. They was lying to the whole of the people in the country about what happened that night. And, you know, during the course of my own investigation, I know our boys are not an isolated case. So our case is being hidden from the public. So during the course of that amount of time, we was following processes. So, you know, we wanted a judicial review. We was writing to the legal aid board. We wrote to the coroners, the Chief Justice Coroner at the appeal court to try and get all these things. But we was being ignored. Everything we was doing was being ignored. And I thought, well, how are we going to get this out to people? And the only thing we could come up was with Speaker's Corner. So I went to Speaker's Corner on the 18th of March 2018, and from that moment I was spoke about it. I then went to lots of demos across the country, speaking at many, you know, different demos for our boys and for other people that were fighting injustices. And what I saw was going, once I went out there, I saw that it weren't just us. I thought we was the third biggest cover up in this country until I went out on the streets and met other families that were fighting. I did that. The Yellow Vest, we started the Yellow Vest. I was an organizer of that, like you correctly said. And that was about all injustices. So it was a people's movement. So anyone could come, speak about their injustice, going out on the street and just telling the people that are walking by what's going on in the country, because the media won't let you know. So the only way is to go out there and expose it. So that's what we was doing. And then that got infiltrated. I suffered terrible trolls, as you know, active yourself. I got lied about so much. And, you know, in the case of my son, you know, my son was murdered and two of his, you know, best friends, along with him. And there was 4 families involved in this. And no one well, a lot of people did, but many people didn't pick up on, hang on a moment, why are the trolls only speaking about Tracy? Why are the trolls only saying Tracy's a racist? Why are the trolls saying, oh, she sent her son out there that night selling drugs? These are the things, the terrible things that trolls were saying about me when we tried to raise funds. They were saying we raised tens of thousands of pounds, and I was spending it on cocaine. But no one picked up and stopped and thought, well, hang on a moment, why are they only saying it about Tracy? There's other families involved here, and that's because I was the only one speaking out. And this is what they do. Not only do you have the media hide it, you have the trolls hide it, you know, agitprop, shields, you know how infiltrators, and they infiltrated the Yellow Vest movement from inside out. Because I didn't let the trolls bother me with what they were saying, and I would still continue to do what I'm doing, they then infiltrated that heavily. Sorry, I'm going off on a tandem, active. Stop me.
No. All I'm going to say is I have known you since the start, over 5 years now, and I wear the Union Jack with your boys on everywhere I go, and I put leaflets in any cars, and I am a good judge of person, and I'm a good judge of character, and I can honestly say there is not one woman in this country that has got the fight in them that you have, and that you will get justice, right? I don't know how you've got the strength to do what you do. And for all the trolls, yeah, they can just all go. We know what the trolls are like. They only do this because you are the one speaking out. Your voice is being heard. All the other families are speaking, but not as loud as you. They're not on the streets daily. They're not at demonstration. They're not at Houses of Parliament daily. That's why you're being attacked, and that is the only reason. Or everything that is written about you negative, it's all false. I can 100% stand by you and will always stand by you.
I know, active, and you've been a great supporter, you know, and that's because you're real and you've got a good heart. And I and my own immediate family can't thank you enough, and others that have stood by me all this time. And many have, and many of those who do stand by me also get attacked just because they stand by me. You know, it's a painful wide ordeal because I'm doing this while I'm feeling pain daily, and I have to. And I've always, you know, I'm not just a mother, I'm always someone who's been about what's right and what's wrong. And I was brought up a certain way, you know, and I thought so many English people were like that. You know, my dad taught me no matter what you feel and no matter how low you get back up and you fight. Yeah, we're defenders, aren't we? You know, and plus I'm a mother. Someone's murdered my son. That's been covered up by the police and the media. They're just as complicit in this. And I feel like my son's been murdered twice. One by those in the car, and they're all complicit in that car, and two by the police that covered it up. And by doing that, they're not protecting the other children and our loved ones on the streets. They're not telling the people the truth of what is going on in the country because they're hiding it all. And that's another reason why they don't like me, because I'm out here trying to expose it as well as exposing my son's case. Now, we've been trying to raise for a private prosecution. Now, I started trying to raise funds in 2018, and I started with one of those, you know, those Just Givings. And after a few weeks, it got closed down. So I started another one up. And then when people started donating, that got closed down and they paid everyone's money back. So then we started going around football matches and holding buckets. And I could only ever hold the bucket once, because you hold a bucket at a football match, asking for money and seeing your son's face on that bucket. It's a very hard and painful thing to do, but you have to do these things, you know, to try and get anywhere, because how they do it, you know, to us working class and poor, that we don't have the money to fight back. So the criminals get the good treatment, we get the bad treatment, we try and fight back, and the only way we can fight back is a private prosecution. And I have to do a private prosecution against the police first to be able to show what they did, to be able to get a retrial on all of those that were in the car that night, you know. And so that's what I've been fighting. So we started this fundraising. We'd go round with buckets. I have very good close friends that do this with me, you know, Brian the Lion, you've met some of them anyway, active. And in December of 2018, Brian the Lion was threatened with arrest at a Charlton game for collecting money for our boys. There is a video actually of this incident with this copper where he said it's okay, you know, Brian said to him, what, you think it's okay the boys were murdered? And he said yes. It's just horrendous, the treatment, on top of what we've had to go through, the way we've been treated by the institutions out there. And so, you know, and then I had all the trolls on me, and I thought, I'm not going to ask for nothing. I'm someone who was brought up to work, earn your own money, don't ask anyone for anything. So it was very difficult for me to do in the first place. So I decided, no, I'm not doing it no more. Out of the money we raised, we had solicitors, we had appointments with solicitors that were charging us £1,440 just for 2 hours with them. We paid for a private investigator which was a hell of a lot of money, to get us more information. You know, we paid for a lot of things. So but that was my mistake. I should not have stopped fundraising, but I did. So it was only about a year ago, we're like, we can't get anywhere without fundraising. I don't own my own home. If I'd owned my own home, I'm the only parent that didn't, then I would have just remortgaged it, and I would not have had to fundraise. I would have done that. That's what I would have done. But I couldn't. So I had no choice but to swallow my pride and then start fundraising again. Now, in the last year, we've just raised over £1,000. I don't have the correct figure because we have a treasurer. Maybe I should have asked before I come here. So we're not raising these tens of thousands of pounds. So then we decided, okay, we do a fundraising event, and I know you're going to mention that. which we've got on the 19th of August to start doing some fundraising events to try. It's a huge amount of money, and they do that to make that difficult for us to fight back. But anyway, I've dreamt a bit here, and I'll apologise to everyone who's listening. Going back to the boys' case, and one thing you spoke about earlier was the CCTV. Now, we managed to get hold of a CCTV, I'll call it that. It's roughly about 20 minutes long. Now, that CCTV has been heavily doctored. I can't go into detail regarding some of it because that, again, that's for the private prosecution. But there's very telling stuff in the CCTV. Now, another thing, one of the things the police told us, that when the car came along and went between two bollards, that its back end swung out and then swung back in again, and the back rear wheel rubbed along the curb further back here, so it must have put him off and made him do what he did 150 meters further up. Well, when we got the CCTV, it showed that that car never did that at all. It was precision driving, precision, no loss of control, and he mounted on the slope. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're right. I wasn't sure if you was stopping. Yeah, I've seen that documentary, and I'm going to put in a link into this thread of the documentary that you must go and see. This documentary that's been produced for Tracy. It's on her YouTube channel, and you will get an understanding of the length and the detail of what we're trying to speak about here. But yeah, I wanted to go back to that because you spoke to the eyewitness that was used on the TV by the mainstream news. Can you tell us more about that? Are you allowed to tell us more about that?
Well, I could tell for the listeners, because they are, a big part of the documentary, aren't they? But their faces are covered up and their voices are changed. Now, when the documentary was originally made, their faces and their voices were not doctored in it. And the only reason we had to do that in the end is because they started getting messages, and I've got one of them where someone made up a WhatsApp using my picture, sent one of those witnesses a message pretending to be me, and saying, any issues, anything you want to tell me, just, put into this WhatsApp. And I've got that, and I can see someone's done that. And then one day, one of them was going to the shop and someone pulled up on a motorbike and said to him, "You better keep your mouth shut." And these are young lads. And so we took the decision to, cover up their face and change their voices purely based on that. So you can see how dark and deep, this is. They don't live far from that scene either. But one thing I did want to jump back and mention, Active, because you did mention and you said about the speed. What I want to point out, when that car came past those bollards and was not far from our boys, it kicked down, and all those children walking on those pavement, bear in mind there's 2 witnesses that survived this, and there was 3 other children walking towards. So there was 3 other children walking towards that also saw it. The car kicked down and they heard it kick down, and all 5 boys turned, but it was obviously too late because then it mounted the pavement. That's when it kicked down. It was an automatic Audi car, and it was a TDI or something like that. I can't remember. So it was very fast on that kick down. Yeah. So what they said about it did this speed here and it did this here, that's incorrect.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to go back. So I don't know if you explained to people that there was blurred out. I'm talking about, from one of the companies that they had a spokesperson that said that he was on duty the night of the crash and he gave an interview on MSN. he wasn't actually there.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Oh, is that one? Oh, is that?
Yeah,
Oh, is that
that's
one?
one
Oh,
of them.
sorry. No, yeah. I'm just double checking that it wasn't a different person. That was all. Yeah, you're all right.
Yeah, well, two of them in the documentary, because you've got the security guard,
Yeah,
haven't
that's
you?
what I was on about.
He also, yeah, well, he also gave an interview to the mainstream media the very next morning. But he also lied in his phone call to me, which is in the documentary, and you can make up your own mind just listening to him, regarding the picture of the car. Now, I know that security guard was lying to me on the phone, but if I'd have turned around and said, well, you're lying, he could have put the phone down, and then I wouldn't have got any more information and prove that he was a liar the longer I spoke to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. No, I just wanted to clarify that bit up, just in case, like you say, people listening didn't, because the interview, like you say, the mainstream media interview is out there anyway with him on it.
Yeah, they also told him, I know from the younger lad who is in our documentary as well, who gave an interview, he quite clearly told me that the media told him what to say.
Yeah. Jamie, did you want to come in on anything, mate? Sorry, because I've been going on. I've been asking questions are going on, and I haven't had a chance to bring you in, mate.
Yeah, I've been trying to bring. I mean, I'm not an expert on this. I saw a lot of it on the news, like a lot of people do at the time. But I'm by no means an expert. But yeah, from a personal point of view, Tracy, um, you've just shed a lot of new light on stuff for me. I mean, I think a lot of us, we've only got so many hours in the day. We don't all. I've recently had a mum diagnosed with dementia, and she's my priority. And we all spend what time we can fighting for what we believe. But yeah, my heart goes out to you, and your courage and your inspiration is infectious. So yeah, thanks for being here tonight, and thanks for alerting me to what I am now thinking really went on that night. But yeah, I've invited Jim to speak. Correct, not political. I think so. Yeah, it's Jim, but he's not accepted yet. I thought Jim might want to come in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what it is, he was going live on YouTube with this at the same time, so I don't believe he can speak on both mics. That's maybe why he can't accept it. But yeah, I wanted to get on to, Tracy, is fundraising for a private prosecution, because what I want to explain to people is we had a grooming gang survivor that set a precedent not so long ago that they took a private prosecution against their groomer, and they took all their money off them, and it hasn't been done. That hasn't been done before. So what we know, this a private prosecution against the police costs a lot of money, but the police don't believe we have the power to fund a private prosecution. Now, if we had the power to fund a private prosecution, then then we would see the corruption, how deep it goes. Because I know there's stuff that Tracy would love to probably say but cannot say because of it's going to be in the private prosecution. But there's an event going on in the middle of August, and I want Tracy, if you would please, to tell us more about that event for anyone here that wants to get involved. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, we've got a really good event. Even though it's a sad reason, why we're doing it, we do want people to come, and have a good time. It's a really good event that we've put together. On all the money's going towards the private prosecution, and there's a couple of professional reports we need, which will go in our boys' favour. And this is why we're doing this, raising this money, as I've said already. But the event itself is in West Sussex. It's in Balcombe. It's 8 minutes walk from the nearest train station. We tried to think of everything when we booked it, you know, to make it easier for people to come. It's got its own car park as well if you drive. The tickets we done as cheap as we could, £15 an adult and £5 for a child. You know, it's families can come, children are welcome, you know, because it's about, you know, it's about my son and his two friends who were young boys. They were 16, 16 and 17. Our children were just ordinary boys. They all played football from a young age. One of them had just been signed by Farnborough as a semi-pro, you know, and they had their lives taken from them in the most horrendous way, you know, and there's a lot goes on during, I'll go back to the fundraiser, sorry. And, you know, it at the fundraising event, there's caterers, so you've got like proper food, there's a licensed bar, we've got entertainment going on all night, we've got some auctions, we've got raffles, you know, we've got Brian the Lion there being shaved, we've got James being waxed. So it's a, you know, it's from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. of night. So it's a really good event, and you know, I would like to ask for everyone's support. If you, even if you haven't met us, or if this is the first time you've heard our story, you know, please do come along. You're more than welcome, and you can learn more from, you know, coming to our events, and you know, unite with us in getting this to court, because our boys are not an isolated case. They are letting these people get away with murder, and then they are walking our streets again, you know, to be able to do it again and again and again, because it's being hidden from you.
Yeah, and to add insult to it, he appealed against his sentence and he had it reduced. So
Well, yeah, well, the thing is, it's very frustrating when you hear, oh, he was given 13 years at the Old Bailey, then it goes to appeal court and he was given 4. Let me tell you, it's nearly 5 years, and that man is out there walking the streets.
this
That
is
man
it. This is
isn't in
it.
prison. That man, or I don't like to call him a man, that thing, along with others in that car, that I can't say much about, they were all complicit in this. This wasn't just whoever was driving that car that did this. They were all complicit in this. And you know, it's my belief, how they make the country so corrupt is people do terrible things, and they are terrible, evil things, and then they use those people to do corrupt things for them, you know, or to become grasses, you know, and things like that. And that's how they keep this corruption going, you know, or infiltrators or shields. And you know, that's my belief on that, because it certainly wasn't for national security that they hid this, because otherwise they would have told the truth and put them away for a long time if it was for national security.
Well, this is it. But you got to remember, the time he was arrested and sentenced, was it? I think it was only a few months from arrest and sentence, wasn't it? Or is it? Is this? Because I mean, I know everything about the case, but I didn't want to get any facts wrong, so I have actually got a page open. And the only reason why I thought it was the 26th of January 2018 is that's because that was put in the press.
Yeah, no, the 26th of the 1st, 2018 was when it happened. Now, when we went to the first court case, which was, I think, the 28th of February, I can't remember the exact date now, the 28th of February, which was, what, a month and a couple of days, the judge wanted to sentence him then. But it was only the fact that the impact statements were not in that she deferred it. And it ended up being deferred in March, but it was the quickest case in history with no evidence. That's the other thing I've got to say. What the police did was they based everything of what happened that night on one so-called witness. That witness is a real man, but he is a fake witness. His statements don't match the scene. He doesn't live where the police said he lived. And I can prove, because I've got other witness statements since this event, with our own investigators and myself, that clearly can prove that man was never at the scene.
Well, one thing I can't get my head round and I cannot understand is this is an horrific scene, the most serious crash scene you can imagine. So this is going to take some investigating by any means, because we get arrested for a public order offence and get bailed for 6 months while we're under investigation. This guy's murdered three kids, and yet within 8 weeks he's been sentenced and in prison. In 8 weeks, that investigation shouldn't even been fully complete. They haven't even been through his whole life. They need to go through his life. They need to go through his internet. They need to go through his past history. You know, this is cover up, massively cover up. They didn't want the truth getting out, and you're getting close to the truth. And this is why we need to come to your event and fundraise where we can for you to get this private prosecution, because this smells like shit all over it. Sorry about my language.
No, that's it. That's exactly what it is. And what I want to say to the listeners, and the whole of the country, when I get it into court and win, because the evidence we have is overwhelming. When I get it into court and win, I still don't come out a winner, because my son has lost his life and I have still lost my son. So I will still go on with this pain for the rest of my life. But that is a loss that no win can ever replace. But what I want to do is set a precedent and make a win for the people, that other families don't go through this. There needs to be changes where the working class people and the poor have a completely independent people, that if they're facing injustice, that they can go to and say, please look at this. We don't have that, because all we have is the police and the IOPC, and the IOPC cover for the police. When we put a complaint in, which shouldn't be called a complaint when it's dereliction of duty and malfeasance in public office and tampering with evidence and making up fake witnesses, that's not a complaint, but they call it a complaint. When we did that and put that in, trying to follow their process to get it taken further, when it's anything to do with corruption, it's the IOPC's own policy that the IOPC then investigate that. They didn't do that in our case. They passed it straight back to the police, and when it went against their own policy and procedure in our boy's case. Like I say, it's very hard, on this show to try and get 5 years worth, and everything that has happened to us happened to our boys, what they done after they died. We found out I have my son in 3 places in my house. I need to give my son another burial. These are the things that they are doing to families that just people out there would be horrified to know.
Oh, it's sick. No, it's sick. That it doesn't bear thinking about, because it just makes me feel sick knowing what they've done.
The hardest part is getting people to see, because like is it Jamie was saying, all he knew on the case was what he's read in the media. Now, most people, the media know how people work. So as soon the media get their stories out, and normally, even when you come with your story, it's the first story that most people will remember. Now, I still get people that I come across, and then when I discuss what happened to my son, we'll still say, oh, they were at a bus stop. Is that the boys at the bus stop? Our boys were never at a bus stop. That bus stop on that pavement, for a start, is a school journey bus stop. This happened at, after 8 in the evening on a Friday night. Our boys were not at a bus stop. But the reason why the media at first put that out, because they had to put out to the people, well, how can a car mount the pavement and go into so many children? Oh, well, They must have all been huddled at this bus stop. You know, so you can see how the media portray things to the people in this country to try and get you to believe them. So when I come out and say this and that, and then the media, Active, we had a BBC hit piece done on us. The BBC approached me and asked me if I would go on their what's that news thing they do overnight? Oh, I can't think what it is now. BBC Newsnight or something. They asked me to go on there, and I said no because you lied about my son, the story and what happened to him. I'm not going on your show. I know what you are. So they do a hit piece, on me and John Lawrence and other people to lie. One of them even went to the scene and tried to say. Then another thing the police told us that all 3 boys died instantly. No, they didn't. 2 didn't, and one of them was my son, and I was at that scene. 1 died instantly, and my son and George died nearly an hour later, lying on that floor while I was there. So all these things that we've had to suffer, it's not just a clear cut, well, this is what happened. It's all the other things that have happened in between and what we've been told, and they were lies. SO15 were at the scene of our boys. You don't get SO15 at a so-called tragic accident.
No, yeah, everything about it is a cover up, and I urge anybody that is listening now to go onto Tracy's YouTube channel and you will see for yourself anyway. And then I urge you just to please support her as much as you can. I've supported her for 5 years, and I'll never stop supporting her. I was going to say, is there anything else you wanted to add, or did you want me to see if there's anyone that wanted any questions asking?
Yeah, please. If there is anyone that would like to ask anything, then yeah, I'm happy to take questions. I can't see where I would see him. Is it in this box?
No, I'm just going underneath I'm going underneath a tweet, and it's just people just putting Josh, Harry, and George, and putting hi Tracy and supporting you. Yeah, no, there's no questions. I think because we've covered quite a lot, to be fair, in an hour.
Yeah, it's very hard, and I'm really sorry because I've jumped about a bit. I just hope what I have got across, that people have understood, and like you said, Active, on my YouTube channel, which is Tracy, daughter of Leonard. If you scroll down, you'll see a documentary. It was made by me and just a couple of others. And, it took quite a long time to make and put together. And then we had to decide what bits to keep out. Because if you put everything out in the public domain, when you go to court, the judge can chuck it out on a technicality and say, well, everything's been put in a public domain, and it can sway a jury. So, but I've put so much stuff out, enough for people to see that this isn't right. And like I said, there's more. The other stuff I've got is for court, and I have to keep it for court. Otherwise, I'd love to tell you everything, but it's not the right way to do it. I need to get into court. I need to show what the police did to get a retrial on all of those in that car, because these people are walking the streets, and my son was murdered, and I can't have someone murder my son and get away with it.
This is it, and this is a scary thought. These people are walking the streets. They've murdered three children. It would have been more. It would have been more kids had it been for one of the children on the windscreen that made him change course of direction. It would have been more children killed, and this could have been your child, people, and this could have been your child being covered up. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put every link possible. I'm going to write a tweet in a minute because I can have as many characters as I want, and I'm going to put every link possible of what is happening in the future, what events are happening, how you can help Tracy, how you can find Tracy on Facebook and YouTube, and how you can support her. And I urge everyone listening, please just share this. And if you agree, like me, and like probably 99% of the people listening, that this was a cover up and this was murder, and we do deserve, well, Trace, not us, Tracy and the families deserve justice, and please help us fight for it.
Exactly, but you was right with what you was going to say, Active, there, and the people of this country, because this affects everybody. What happened to our boys? Because, like you said, it could have been anyone's children, and you know, your children, anyone's. It could be anyone's tomorrow, and I would never want to say to another family, "I told you so."
No, that's like I say. It doesn't. It doesn't bear thinking about what you've gone through and what you're still going through and what you'll go through until the day you die. It's. I mean, I've lost my mum, and it went for and it's. I can't get over that, so I can't imagine the pain you're going through.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I really wouldn't. It's immeasurable and it's undescribable. It almost becomes like your best friend that goes with you everywhere you go, only it's a pain. And that it's constantly there with you. But I have to use that pain as my armor and my tears as my bullets and the truth as the power.
Yeah, well, I like. Do you know that I do like what you just written down there. I'm going to have that as a quote because that is just powerful.
Yeah.
No, and
Because
on that note, yeah, on that note, if you got anything else, is there anything else you wanted to add or?
no, that's it. I just want to thank you, Jamie, and I know Correct Not Political is doing the YouTube thing. It's a shame I couldn't have spoke to him tonight, but there's always another time. I do appreciate you having me on. And Active, thank you for all the support you've given me over the last 5 years, and to most people in the who's listening, thank you all. For your time and just being on here tonight and listening, and it's about getting the truth out there and exposing what is going on so another family doesn't have to suffer like we have. And believe me, many are daily, because ours is a cover up, but we're not the only cover up in this country. There's enough cover ups in this country to blanket the whole of the UK.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and this government aren't even hiding it no more.
No, they're not. There's many that are becoming aware of things, but there's still many people out there, put out there amongst the truth community to still use smoke and mirrors and lie to everyone and take them down dead ends. And believe me, that happened to me in 2018. I had so many people coming my way, telling me stuff, go down this path, go down this path. I even held a grand jury, and I got 12 out of 12 on that in our boy's case, which I thought created an indictment. It was taken to the appeal court, given to the highest judge in the land, who said, I can't do nothing with this because it absolutely meant nothing. So it's a false path. But, you have to go on these journeys to find out what is real and what isn't real.
Of course, yeah. No, and thank you for your time, Tracy. I know how hard it is speaking about it all the time, but I know you have to do this because you want justice, and you're never going to stop until you get it. So thank you for your time, Tracy. Thank you, Jamie, mate, for joining us.
Thank you, Jamie.
I hope you haven't fell asleep. Right, and everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us. And my next tweet, you will get every piece of information that is available, and I will be there on the 15th of August. Well, if
19th, actually, 19th.
Sorry, 19th. Sorry. Well, that's
Oh, that's right.
if I'm still here. I might not be here from the 7th, but let's touch wood. If I'm here, I will be there on the 19th, and I will do something. I will get something waxed off. Don't you worry.
Yeah, well, you take care, and I'm looking forward to seeing you anyway. Thank you. Hopefully, Yorkshire Rose can come as well if she can get up this way.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Everyone, take care. Thank you for listening. Please support us. Yeah, and take care of yourselves.
Yeah. Take care. God bless, Tracy, and thank you everyone for listening. Peace out.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna talk to the stream now.
Yeah, sorry.
There you go. Seems that Alan was making excuses for me, and I was quite fucking obliged him, didn't I? Let him make excuses for me. So I think we should get Tracy on. I'm gonna watch that video again, and we can all do that again, boys. How do you feel about that? Because that's fucking. What does she mean? CT were at the scene, boys. Can we take a second to think about that? Was it who did she say? What was that? A minute. Wait for these links off Alan, and then we'll get them out there as well. SO15, mate. That's fucking. Just to be sure. Yeah, right. That's mental, bro. How fucking wild is that? No, you got you got retards in the chat going, yeah, man, blatantly asset, blatantly agent and that, yeah. And then, by the way, just before she ends up, she says, yeah, counter-terrorism were there as well. It's like, what? Mate. Anyway, where's Alan? The link. He says he's going to put some links up. %. The real criminals do wear the whistles and the syrups, mate. Is cunt gonna do a fucking tweet or something? He's Jewish, he's tweeting, yo. Hey, Gold Eagle. Why are big US conservatives doing reputation management for Tate? What?
It doesn't matter what qualifications you have. We won't have jobs. We won't be able to feed ourselves. Suffer and die.
Mate, it gives you hope, doesn't it? It gives you hope, mate. And you see him getting booed and carted off. This the Irish one.
This is a disgrace. Men dressed as prostitutes.
Yeah. That's old, isn't it? Look at this cunts. Fucking like that. Has he said something? I can't see it. That's- This is the Russian woman. Go on, big lad. He's got the air off now. Get the air off with a shotgun, boys. Where are they getting all these fucking wheels from? Mate?
Okay, my friend, please. Please.
Hey, here we go. I don't know. It's cunts. What's he got to say?
Congratulations on how gleefully you announced that. To be honest with you, I've had my wife in tears on the phone now. This has done us. It's finished. We have about 150 to 200 pounds a month to spare. Some months on a good month, that's now going to go on a tax. I really weren't going to vote anymore because obviously the Tories and how much they lie. I always vote Tory. I weren't going to vote for anyone. I was actually going to give Mr. Starmer a go. With the support backing the mayor, he lost my vote immediately. I urge everyone to vote Tory now to really give you a taste of your own medicine. That's how livid I am this morning. This is now the final nail in the coffin, especially for me and my family anyway. Yeah, it's upset me, to be honest with you.
And John, how old's your car? What's the car you've got?
It's about 11 years old. 11 years old, family runabout, a Mitsubishi, nothing special, nothing flash. And now I'm being told by a mayor that it's no good.
All right. Well,
he's now imposed a tax.
There's a couple.
I would say hundreds of thousands of people.
There's a couple of things here, John. One, you've said that you're experiencing the cost of living crisis. It's tough. You've got two young kids.
Condescending.
Well, the cost of living crisis that you're experiencing, isn't that down to the government that you say that you're prepared to vote for?
That's how angry I am with your mayor.
Because
that's how livid I am.
So you've got the ULEZ charge. You've got kids.
Yep.
Who you don't want to have asthma, presumably.
Here we go. What
you don't want to get in.
Horrible cunt,
now, I'm not being funny. even with the poor young girl that passed
he
away,
couldn't get away
I
from me
really feel
quick
real
enough,
bad for
mate.
their family.
Yeah.
But are you
Horrible
telling me
cunt.
that she's walking around in the streets of London and people are dropping down dead?
Really dislike that scumbag, mate. He's some sort of cunt. Oh, mate. There you go. She shared it. See this little cunt laughing at people earlier on and all.
Existence. We can't prevent suffering. A society can only relieve social suffering, unnecessary suffering. I need to explain how the Ugandan students touched me personally. These students have been very gently campaigning to stop a huge oil pipeline being built through Uganda. But there they get arrested for presenting a petition. Recently, one young man was disappeared by the police for 3 days. No one knew where he was. They beat him and repeatedly immersed him in icy water. Thankfully, he's recovering now. But that climate of fear remains.
There's claims. This is the thing. There's claims being made here, really quite horrendous claims of heinous fucking traumatizing behaviors, like icy waters, immersing him. These are bold fucking claims, mate. I'd like to see. I'd speak to that cunt. How angry and let down do you feel when you see this woman's face? Honestly, Pat, mate, I told you about her from when people started floating the idea, mate. So not much. But do you know what I mean? No, I missed the thing with fucking Corbyn last night, pretending to fucking care about immigrants and shit. Should have been in there. But it's one of them things. If you turn up, it's got that baldy twat on security. I've got no chance. Oh, he's a globalist. What do you mean? Does he mean the international Marxist? Oh!
How gleefully you announced that. To be honest with you, I've had my wife in tears on the phone now.
He already knew that he was gleeful, didn't he? What's this? What's this? What the fuck is this? Look,
This is what you would call prime bomb spot.
It's fucking insane, boys. Like, you get newspapers and write articles on Willsey and shit. So, is he that mental? Is he a conspiracy theorist? Are they training them to use a fucking longbow? Is it quite like they say? I'm not sure. I'm not so certain. What's this here? Israel. Catholics successfully defend the church from Zionist extremist group La Familia, who attempted to seize Morelias monastery by force In recent months, priests have been stabbed and assaulted, cemeteries desecrated, and churches set on fire in Israel. They got mad queer flag. Queer flag. It's rightly queer flag. They're costing it. I'm fucking confused. Excuse my French. The Gardaí are the problem. Gardaí are the problem. When the Northern Irish, when do the Southern Irish start acting like Northern Irish, start burning out the Scottish mountains? Real question. When do the Beatties start acting like the other Beatties? Start burning them out. Oh. I can't see my wrestling. I'll see you then. What's happening, right? I got that right, mate. Yeah. They get all angry at our women and that, mate. It's fucking disgusting. Yeah, he's
of being anti-Semitic, and now he's trying to prove that he's not anti-Semitic by saying how great Israel is. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me because,
this
like I said, this
Israel, by
is
the way.
The general perception that's given very successfully done by the Zionists as a ploy to gaining support and to stifle any opposition to the state of Israel is by equating and convoluting and the two concepts of Judaism and Zionism, even though it's really both contradictory, and it's just so blatantly wrong. Judaism is to serve God, to be peaceful, to be loving, to do kindness. Zionism is a truly selfish political movement of occupying another people. So wrong, so vicious, so anti what Judaism is all about. And it's totally humiliating to us as practicing Jews to see and hear what is being done in our name.
Supporting Israel is not support for Jews. Supporting Israel is not support for Jews.
AIPAC, for instance, and the other Zionist organizations makes it a point of attempting to have every single faction in the
So it's not
United
about
States or around the
freedom
world, any
and
political
being
group that looks
kind
at
and shit like that.
Democrats or Republicans or independents, it really doesn't matter. They want to
Right,
actually
that's all
equate
right, but it's
and
fucking.
convolute the issue of Judaism and the
Is he
Jewish
gonna
people
fucking
and the state of Israel,
chop
and
the little boy's Corey off?
try to create
A
the
bit of it.
mirage, a concept that
So, I
if you're
mean,
opposing the state of Israel, you're anti-Semitic, and in truth, Israel and Zionism, then what they're doing is the greatest exacerbator of anti-Semitism around the world.
right, well, thanks for that, Rabbi. Got one of them.
It seemed like
Greenpeace under everyone's saying that, and they has been floating around for a few weeks. What's this?
Following us. Go away. Go away. Before I call the fucking police. Go away. Bye-bye. Fuck off.
How mental.
Go the fuck away. No, I'm not calming down because you're following us. Go away. Go away.
Off the fucking nut. This is the world you live in now, boys. These are the towns and the cities you live in. This is the state of fucking. This is why you
White.
don't look
That is
films.
not going to be.
This
mean
is
that
why
it's
you
no
don't
longer
look films.
1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
So-
Does mean that it's no longer 19.
That's why we don't watch the films anymore, boys. Should never watch the films in the first place. It's all poison. It's probably something to do, laddie. The fucking films. They're going to an oak tomorrow.
Protest is tomorrow. It's not a Turning Point UK one. It's not a Students Against
I'm
Tyranny
going
one,
Norwich,
which
boys.
stand up to racism. They seem to be getting quite confused, don't they? Because it's not the first time. If you remember the Oxford protest, apparently I organised that with Tommy Robinson, which again is a bunch of crap. I never organised it. Neither did Tommy. That was Debbie Hicks, now Community Our Choice. And they have made the same mistake again, saying I have organised it when I haven't. I know the organisers, and I'm not one of them. So, yeah. Well, I'm not the organizer of tomorrow's protest. Students Against Tyranny are not the organisers. I believe it's going to be so from Students Against Tyranny. It's only going to be me and Wes. Luca's abroad. Nika's busy. I think she's camping somewhere. Quite a few of the lads are busy. So unfortunately, it's not going to be a massive FCT presence tomorrow. But you've got me and Wes who are going to be there. And you've got Chris Cousins from League of Young British Patriots as well. He's going to be there. So meeting them guys in the morning. And yeah, it's going to be a good day anyway. I'm looking forward to it. If you can get there, please
Mate,
get
it was
there.
mental. So, boys, just for the fucking thing then, like, who reckons it's going to be, they're having a meet at R5 again, right? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that old dude. Like, what the fuck's even going on, mate? Like, what happened last time? What's even happening this time, boys? That's a fucking mad one, isn't it? These fucking cranks, mate. What the fuck are they up to? What are they up to? Right, I'm gonna have a look to see if Alan has posted anything. If he ain't, I'm gonna go because I've got a lot of shit to do tomorrow. Well, a lot of fucking. Anyway, right. It's a documentary. Is it? I thought there was some sort of fucking donor box. Here you go. It's bigger here. Right. There's all different ones. Right. I'm putting all the links in the description, boys. What is it? Might as well put the documentary in there as well. Right. The broadcast must be scheduled in the future. Everyone. What are you on about? I'm just trying to. Bruv. Why is it fucking annoying me? I'll tell you what I'll do then, just because it's double annoying. I'm just going to rip that from there. Cut that. Right. I'm going to do it via this. Then. Save it from that angle. Robert's your father's brother. Is it? Is he? Is he related to my dad? Yeah, right, sweet, done. Right, boys. Thanks for tuning in, listening. Tracy and the horrific story. I endeavoured to get her on this one time and we'll have a good talk about it. Not a good talk, but you know what I mean. Right, so yes. See you all later. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Pride in Norwich. Also, join the Telegram group and the Facebook group. Fuck it, go on and share them about, boys. You know, because we've got to get the message out there, boys. The country's falling apart. Anyway, peace.